Coming up tonight, Melanesian Spearhead Group discuss effects of climate change. First Lady Andi Koila Nailatikau officiates UN student meet, and Fiji signs MOU to review Kiribati's labor laws. Good evening, I'm Sandra Sam. In these days of increasing natural disasters in our region, many lives have been claimed as climate change continues to impinge on the Pacific, particularly in the MSG region. However, the combined efforts and resources of all Melanesians is vital to help mitigate this natural phenomenon.
The establishment of a rapid response force in Melanesia is a proactive response to growing security concerns within the region. It would therefore be wise to have a ready and available force in place in MSG to address those issues, which is a proactive force ready to address security concerns rather than a laid-up approach when a crisis or natural disaster strikes. Delegates at this morning's MSG meeting on humanitarian and emergency response were also reminded to adopt strategies that would help mitigate our collective efforts in responding to natural disasters.
In the long term, HERF or similar arrangement is necessary and enable our region to utilize our HERF experts to go and help our country people in the region. This may also require considerable investment by our members in supporting the concept. Therefore, I would again urge you all to ensure that you provide all the necessary information to our leaders.
The proposed Humanitarian and Emergency Response Force, or HERF, will be trained to respond to threats of illicit activities along regional and international borders, natural disasters, and internal conflicts within the Melanesian countries. At the same time, Melanesian countries want to strengthen policing within member countries.
Perhaps this is also an opportune time to deliberate and to see where HERF and FPU can be implemented, how they can complement each other. I would not like to bore you with words, since this is only a half-day workshop, and I shall allow your working group syndicates to help us reflect on the preparation and the presentations today, and to present appropriate outcomes to the subcommittee on security.
P.S. Fotofili added that it was important to maintain consistent dialogue for the sake of the economy and the people of Fiji, and that follow-ups were done to achieve tangible outcomes.
International Secondary School this morning held an annual Model United Nations meeting where students set an agenda and sat in different committees to discuss global issues. This is the 5th annual Model United Nations event hosted by International Secondary School, involving students from Andi Dakambau, St. Joseph Secondary, Maris Brothers High School, Dudley High School and Suva Grammar. The event was opened by First Lady Andi Koila Nailatikau.
The Model United Nations is a global organization where schools all over the world, ranging from middle schools to universities, are engaged. The agenda is to promote international cooperation whilst working together to resolve and spread awareness of problems that affect countries globally. Her Excellency, the First Lady Andi Koila Nailatikau, this morning commended the efforts of those involved as participants, saying this is another way in moving the nation forward by promoting open dialogue and diversity amongst peers.
This United Nations model that you are all participating in actually has the potential to get better and better year after year. What I find noteworthy is that you have taken the first and most important step of having a united front in your own home country, and together in this United Nations model, you tackle the problems of the outside world. As young as you all are, you serve as a great example to our country's leaders, the government of the day, as well as governments of the region, and I applaud you for your hard work.
Andi Koila Nailatikau, who once also attended the United Nations General Assembly in the 70s, challenged students to never set boundaries for themselves and to find a balance in their current achievement. Milika Wanganambete, one of the coordinators, says the debate will certainly better equip students in the careers they will later wish to pursue.
In terms of other skills, it boosts their confidence levels, public speaking. They have to learn to think on their feet, because if they are asked by another country to respond, they have what's called a right of reply. They can move or ask the chairperson for a right of reply. That's when they can respond or defend their country. And that's, apart from confidence speaking, they have to learn diplomacy, networking, a lot of communication skills.
The first Model UN Assembly initially involved only students from International Secondary School, but now has further included other schools like ACS, Subo Grammar, Marist Brother, Dudley High and St. Joseph.
We'd be delighted to host a few other schools, because it's still, probably because it's a new initiative, it still hasn't, probably lacks that awareness, and we've had to go to the schools and promote it. And that's what we started off by doing. We took a number of students and promoted it to the various schools, and then that finally got them on board.
The Fijian government this morning signed a memorandum of understanding with the government of Kiribati, which will see Fiji reviewing the labour laws in Kiribati. The new arrangement will see technical assistance provided to Kiribati in the form of labour reforms and labour inspection.
Today marked a historic day for relations between Fiji's Labour Ministry and the government of Kiribati, as the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding took place. Under the MOU, Fiji for the next 2 years are to inspect the current laws in place in Kiribati, carry out inspections, and then submit recommendations for changes. The MOU will focus on inspection and reforms in the Labour Ministry in Kiribati, which will mean an improved working environment for the people of Kiribati.
The intended outcome is clear. Better quality working lives for Kiribati workers and employers, indeed for the general public. The aim is to create decent and affordable labour standards that enhance social justice in Kiribati workplaces. The best way to teach yourself is to teach others. Because when you teach others, you look at your own strengths, your weaknesses, and you learn from that process. So I like that particular point. This is also in keeping with one of the pillars of the People's Charter, which calls for creating a knowledge-based society in Fiji. In this case, however, we're not just talking about creating a knowledge-based society in our country, but in the Pacific, by sharing knowledge, by sharing experiences.
International Labour Organization's director in Suva, David Lamotte, says the organization was happy with the partnership. He says this partnership shows Fiji is indeed taking the lead in the Pacific.
The type of agreement we are witnessing here today is often referred to as South-South cooperation. Personally, it's not a term that I'm fully comfortable with. South supposed to be the least developing, and the North supposed to be developing. I notice that Kiribati is one side of the equator and Fiji is on the other side, so I'm not sure that South-South is fully correct. South-South cooperation, though, is a term that's gaining momentum. South-South cooperation is a manifestation of the solidarity between countries and peoples. Experience over the last 30 years on capacity building hasn't been particularly brilliant. Many people today are now questioning the effectiveness of sending Western experts, myself, to provide technical assistance based on practices in highly developed industrialised countries. Is that appropriate? Many countries are now asking for experiences from other developing countries.
Kiribati Labour Minister Boutu Bateriki says the agreement, while it took a long time to finalize, was very vital, as the island nation had a lot of similarities to Fiji, and the arrangement would work in favour of the island of Kiribati.
Looking at the big picture, reform will assist Kiribati put in place system that address the labour requirement of today. One important component is the need to have legislation in place to address labour mobility that would harmonize our law with law from labour receiving countries.
The MOU will start in July this year and last until 2014.
The Attorney General Ayah Syed Qayyum has been invited by Singapore's Attorney General to attend the 11th Heads of Prosecuting Agencies Conference. The event, which begins today, brings together heads of prosecuting agencies from various countries such as Australia, Canada, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Mauritius and New Zealand. The theme of the conference is Challenges in Crime in the 21st Century. The Attorney General will be delivering an address at the conference where issues discussed include trans-jurisdictional bribery, dealing with accused persons with disabilities, and challenges to prosecutorial discretion. The AG is accompanied by the Director for Public Prosecutions, Christopher Pride. Coming up after the break, legal assistance debated at the MSG. Police look into death of 2 women, and International School Suva donates to Levuka Public.